Hey guys, Jason Nurse with Golden Spikes Baseball Academy. Just a quick follow-up to the blog post. Wanted to post a little video, a little practical application for how we use this thought process in our training as we try to shift things from internal cueing to external, more objective-based training. All right. So one of the main issues that we run at, or one of the most common issues that we run into out here is, especially with our younger guys, and it really does affect hitters all the way up through high school and even into college. If you look at some guys, they'll have some issues getting to 50-50 at foot strike, and not so much the hands dropping. But with our young hitters, and if you've been around youth baseball enough, you've probably seen the kid that may start here in the stance that you've coached him into, but as soon as they step, their hands want to fall and drift, and we end up with swing angle issue, or we have a hitter, and this is the one that's more consistent up at the high school levels, is when they stand or when they stride, they kind of let their foot drift, their center of gravity doesn't go with them, okay, and they end up with their head over their back foot, to where now when I rotate, I'm going to have swing angle or swing plane issues. So the result that we don't like, or the movement that we don't like, is that the hands dropping and the weight distribution issue creates bad swing plane, right? Okay, so the way we're going to look at it to change it is I want to look at, okay, so these are the things I don't like. What is that going to cause on the other end of the cage? What problem does that open up down here? All right. So as I watch them hit, usually we'll take 5-10 swings, and if those are the issues, 8 of them are going to result with a ground ball to the left side of the infield, and the other 2 are probably going to be on the tee, which would be a flare to right field. Okay, those are the 2 things that we get with that type of movement. All right. So then the question becomes, all right, so how can I, with an external cue, with an objective, how can I get them to move differently? All right, so we want to be able to set up a drill, give them an objective, and make them, and just allow them the freedom to work their way through it. Okay, so the way we'll go about that is I'm going to, one thing they will not be able to do, all right, so the drill setup is if I drop my hands from this position, is there any way that I can hit a ground ball to second base? And the answer, of course, is no. Or on the other side of that, same thing. If I step and my head hangs out over my back knee or my back foot, there's no way from this position I'm hitting a ground ball to that side of second base. Okay? So the objective is ground ball to second base. The constraint for starters, the only constraint, is the ball is high. Okay? And we want it to stay high. All right? And then we just say, okay, hit the ball to second base. All right? And you'll see a lot of different things. They'll be confused. The first few will be the exact same movement, and they'll try to hit it to second base with the same issue. All right, and they'll realize that that's not going to work. So then we just kind of slow things down and say, okay, I don't care how you do it, make the ball go that way. And if they stand here and if they just do that, we're okay with that. We don't mind that, and I'm just going to let him work through that process, okay, until he sees a few balls go on the ground to second base. Is that the swing that we want to get to? Of course not. But we know that, and this is a process. Number one, the first thing we have to do is knock them out of their old movement pattern. All right, so anything that they're doing to get them away from their old movement is, to me, productive. Okay? So let them do that for a while. Shut up, just let it happen, let the learning happen. Okay? Ground balls are going to second, we're getting there. Okay? No matter how it's happening, it doesn't matter. Okay? And then, as they work through it, then we start adding more constraints, more rules, okay? So, all right, so the part of this that I don't like, okay? I like that it's going to second. I don't like that you've moved 5 feet away from the plate to be able to create that and make that happen, all right? So the next rule that we might put in is move 6 inches closer, okay? Now I've got to rotate better. My hands are going to stay more connected to my body, and I start to get a little bit better this direction if I'm going to get it to go that way. The first thing that will happen as soon as they move closer to the ball is they'll go back to the original movement, all right? And we're going to continue to walk them through that and say, okay, from this position, now we have to hit a ground ball to second, and let them try to make that happen, okay? As the coach, I might then realize that, all right, he's making it go to second base, but the back foot isn't rotating. He's doing it with all his hands, all right? We may move him further up on the ball, whatever it is, but we're going to add one more constraint. Okay, now you've got to hit a ground ball to second base from that position. Okay, so constraint number 1, high T. Constraint number 2, stand closer to the ball. Constraint number 3, let's rotate the back foot. Okay, now we've got to do all 3 of these things and see where we start to get. Okay, and you're going to get some really funny looking swings because they're just trying to process all this stuff. And it doesn't matter, as long as they're following the rules, you might get a cut-off finish. Okay, then you can add a 4th one down the road. Okay, now do all those things and finish your swing. Whatever it is, they cannot do this from this position. All right, so this is objective based. This is a much more natural learning process for athletes. This is, like I said, this is how we learn to ride a bike. This is how we learn to walk. This is motor learning. This is how we learn most efficiently. Can you learn it the other way? Yeah, it's just a lot more difficult. It's a lot more cumbersome and boring for the athletes. You're preaching to them every single swing. Oh, drop your hands again. Oh, no, you didn't do it right that time. And they only have so much focus, right? They only have so much capacity to focus on where my hands are if we take 100 swings in a training session, okay? But they can pretty easily say, okay, the goal is hit the ball on the ground over here, and then we just start giving them rules to follow, and then see how it goes. And sometimes you have to move backwards before you go forward, so allow them to look really ugly in the opposite direction. I think that's a really important thing, actually, because it just shocks the system, gets them outside of their comfort zone. Okay, so that's basically how we go about it. Again, there's hundreds of movements that we're trying to train, hundreds of swing flaws that we're looking at. But to me, if I have an athlete that step strides and is closed off on the front side, I don't want to tell him not to close off his front side. I want to create something that's going to force him to open up the front side. All right, so it's a little bit of a different mindset. It takes slowing down. It takes being patient and just kind of deconstructing the swing or the movement and building it back up from the ground up and letting them just experience and just feel. Okay, and that feel is the hardest thing in coaching, I think, to me is I can show you a picture of what it looks like, but I can't tell you how it feels, or I can't help you feel how it feels. So we're constantly striving for that.